So something that I'm really excited about hearing from you today is how you've been able to connect with like all these amazing people around the world. And I'll give you an example. So we had Marty Neal on the show a couple of weeks ago, and then I was on his LinkedIn, and somehow there was a video just for Marty from the founder of Tetris, the guy who made Tetris. How do you do stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I just do, I think. That was a present for Marty, actually. Yeah, so he saw him doing this and so reached out to Hank, basically. So Hank Rogers, and just asked him, and he thought it was a good idea, did it, and it was a nice surprise, right? And so, I mean, I do a lot of this stuff, and it's, so how do I do it? I just do it. I always have. It's kind of how I started, really. I in the early days, I got a guy called Michael Palin, who, I don't know how old you guys are, but he's very famous in those days. I got him to do my foreword, my book. I got the Times. This is my first book, so I was, 22, 23 at that stage. And then I realised if I just asked, and I'm not worried if people say no. And so, I've done a few. I do. This is, look, some people paint, some people read. In my spare time, I geek out. I just do kind of cool, fun things. So I can say now, because my friend actually told people about this on LinkedIn, but I have an amazing goddaughter, Emily, who's she's going to change the world. She's awesome. She went through a tough time for A-levels. And so things were really hard for her with the breakup with the boyfriend and things. And so I had this sort of plan. So I said to her, who inspires you, Emily, right? So she basically named 3 dead philosophers and the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Right.
Right. And I'm going, all right, this makes my life, because what I was going to do is contact them.
Right.
So I got in touch with Jacinda Ardern, and she wrote a letter to Emily, right? But the reason I did it was, first of all, for Emily. And the reason Emily was inspired by her was that exact reason. If you're the Prime Minister of a country and you're happy to write a note to a girl you're not even going to, that shows the making, and why Emily puts her up on a pedestal, right? But also it's to show her that just give it a go. Yeah. So that's what I do. I give things a go. And it was great. Look, Hank did I don't know if you've seen it.
It was so funny.
It's really cool. And I'll put the reference in for Marty.
Yeah. And he said something like he had like a real zinger at the end. It's like, there's only one master of Tetris.
Yeah, because
it's me.
It was brilliant. Because I'm like, so these guys are doing Tetris, but surely you're the best. It's like, well, yeah.
This episode is part of our ongoing series with NI Connections, where we interview an interesting person from Northern Ireland who's living and/or working overseas. Now, who are NI Connections? They are the diaspora department of Invest NI, and their mission is really, really simple. It's to connect the Northern Irish community all around the world. They put together some really incredible resources, including how to move you and your family back home if you have been living overseas, how to move to Northern Ireland for the first time, and even how to move your business or open up a new branch in this wonderful place that we call home. You also can find hundreds of interviews and profiles with fascinating people who are proud to call this place home, and you can check out all of these things and sign up for their free email newsletter at niconnections.com. Thanks very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of today's episode.
But so I do that because I enjoy doing it, and over the years, it's got me to places. One thing I've learned is, and I say to the youngsters, so I sort of occasionally mentor youngsters, and you say, you give it a go, because the success of it happening takes you far further than anything, right?
Right.
And if it works, it goes through the roof.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, who cares? And if it doesn't, you just learn.
Did you always have the just do mentality? Was there a particular do that happened that unlocked something in your brain?
I don't know. It's a good question. I guess, you see, for me, it all started because I took a gap year, right? And that, I guess, where it all started, because my brother took a gap year, went traveling when he was 18. I thought, I want to do this, So that was the first time, really, I guess, where I started saying, I'm going to be the master of my own destiny and do stuff. And I'm incredibly driven, mainly because I have a hell of a lot of energy, and my poor old wife has to put up with me and people around me. And I'm even toning it down for this, because otherwise People think I'm on cocaine.
She's like,
or
Tom,
something,
just go reach out to the founder of
Seriously.
Tenders or something.
Yeah.
Like, get out of your system.
Just on 20K, just burn off. But I guess, I'm just driven. My thing is, you just got to give life a go. And genuinely one of these, for me, it's not a fridge magnet. It's what I do.
Right.
Right. And I have this saying that, through life, I say to my boys, when you go through life, you've got to have a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy soul. The healthy body, I run a mile a day for 25 years, and I just do that. The healthy mind, you get out there, exercise, and sort of do things. But the soul bit is the just doing stuff. Doing stuff where you have nobody says thank you. You don't tell people, like the thing with Marty and Hank. Just do it. And so I think that's the thing. I do that. And
if you stop doing, do you feel like your soul starts to get clogged up a bit?
I don't know. I've never stopped really. So at home, I have loads of projects, and everyone's like, "What's the next project? Next project?" I say, "I'm going to do no projects," but I just keep going. And so I just burn the energy off. So I've never really stopped. Yeah, but I don't know. That's just me. It doesn't work for some people. It doesn't work for others. But
how did you get Richard Branson naked?
Yeah, so that was
Daniel's face, Daniel didn't see it coming. He's like, "What the?"
Yeah, and the headline there isn't as good as the story. Unfortunately, it wasn't some party with loads of cocaine and stuff like that. But it was. Yeah, so the story there was that I got naked for a PR shot it was my first ever PR shot when I was 23, launching my first book. And then the end of that was I was going to do stuff with Virgin and Branson. They took an interest in me and they went, "Oh, this naked thing you did, can Richard do it?" So that's how it ended up. So he did a naked shoot for his first book, sort of borrowing my idea basically. But the reason I was saying that story was that I often tell that story because I realised I just published my first book. I needed to get out there. I was walking around the tubes, looking at advertising, marketing, and you realise that every time you see a naked body or naked shot, you look at it.
Sure.
And I thought, "Oh God, I'm going to have to get naked." So
I love that's a logical conclusion.
Yeah, well, you just think
you're like,
it's
sugar, it's gonna have to happen.
Yeah, so I did a thing with my book, Over My Bits.
Sure.
And it was Before You Go is the name of my first book, covers everything, right? And when you actually see the shot, and you won't see the shot, but if you did see the shot, you can see my foot is like crunched over because I was so nervous. But yeah, and it worked. We made this little pop-up of me naked. So, and that was the other thing I worked out was that when you publish a book, a place like Waterston's in those days, they would only ever get one and they put it in the shelves, and you would never sell out because it gets lost. What you want to do is get on the table.
Right.
So I came up with this idea of having, I think it was 8 books in a little pack. And when they got it, they opened up, they pulled up, and there was a little naked me. and of course, when they did that, the guys at Waterston's went, "This is great. This will sell," right? So it went, I think, category A, I think called it. So like 80% of Waterston's stocked it. So of course, they all went up with these little naked things, and they all sold. So the whole lot sold out. And then my mum, bless her, goes in and she's like, "Oh, my son's got a book out."
Oh boy, how prestigious! Wow.
Let's go and find it. And there's little me, yay, out like that. So yeah, but yes, the reason I tell the story is because that was one of the first times, I guess, like you said earlier, where I just kind of went for it. It's not my comfort zone to do stuff like that, but it worked really well. And then Branson took an interest. Virgin took an interest. My second book came out with them, but because I did stuff like that, it all sort of takes off really.
And the ability to see what is highly disruptive in that kind of PR space. What's going on there?
Yeah, so disruption. Well, it's called disruption now. It used to be called innovation or creativity and whatever. But
that's
I don't know. I think I've always. I don't know. I think it's asking the right questions really. So I don't look at things. Yeah, some people say with the brain with autism and things. I don't have autism, but you've got this huge spectrum of things, right? So it's how the brain kind of works. And over the years of doing it, I guess I look at stuff and I asked myself different questions, right? So like early on in the gap year journey, you know, I traveled around the world. My friends kept saying, going out for beers with me, how do you travel? How do you backpack? How do you pack a backpack? And I thought, I should write a book about this. But the irony is I never read books. I played sports, right? So I thought if I wrote a book that I could read, that'd be brilliant. So I started writing a book, and I wrote it in my speak. I thought, this is quite cool. And went out, and then I started doing the media and all this kind of stuff. And then people saying, oh, well, we have a gap year magazine. I thought, that sounds interesting. Yeah, we'll do that. And then it went one thing another. It's all gap year. I was literally the most boring person on the planet to be gap years. It was literally like being an expert in sprouts. No one else cared, I think. And so, yeah, it was just looking at what was next. And, you know, you saw these kids who raised an average of £3,500, £4,000 and would spend. And you look at the banks and they're all trying to flog the student accounts. I'm like, but what about all these guys? They got loads of cash. So we invented a gap year bank account. We invented the first prepaid card for MasterCard because we realised that credit cards didn't work for these guys that are travelling and stuff like that. And it just kept going like that. And I think as the more you do, the better you get, I guess. So over the years, it's really sad. I kind of geek out on it a bit, really. So other people read and paint. I come up with geeky models. So I was working with the Northern Irish fishermen here. And one of the things during lockdown was they couldn't sell fish direct. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could sell a fish from a bucket on a boat on the way in? Like, I don't know why I thought of that. And then I became obsessive and thought, but wouldn't that be cool? So it turns out the prawn fishermen here, they have bycatch. So they catch prawns, but then they pick up the odd monkfish, stuff like that. And then you look at the cost of the bycatch, there's no value to it. But then fresh fish is amazing, right?
Sure, yeah.
So you're thinking, well, when they're steaming in, if they have their catch, why don't we turn that into a digital asset? Put it out to fishmongers and restaurateurs, and then they could buy it.
Yeah.
So I sort of figured out a way to do it. I actually just used Facebook in the end. And then and I thought, wouldn't it be cool? So people bought that on the way, and that worked. I thought, wouldn't it be brilliant if a restaurateur sold a dish from a fish on a boat before I got in? And we did it. We did it with
Bucket
Fish City.
to bull.
Yeah. We worked out it was the only animal you ever wanted to do that with. You don't want to say, there's Gertrude the cow. Yeah, you don't want to look in the eye, right? But it's cool, right? And so stuff like that. And I did a street art thing as well. You look at it and you see street art. I've been involved with loads of arts projects and set up a few here. And you look at street art, people go, that's really cool. Especially the kids, they go, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Then they look at art in galleries, and they don't go into galleries, but they see street art. They'd like to buy that, but they can't. But they can buy that stuff. But what if you could create something where you turned the whole world into a gallery where you could see the stuff and then buy a copy of the street art, you know? So we did that. In fact, that was another lockdown project. So my son, so you did an augmented thing. So you put the thing up, you see the thing, and then you can just buy it, and, you know. So if you got that, you then got a global street art platform. So again, that would be a disruption, if you like. So
I'm really curious what you said. I said disruption. You went, oh yeah, it used to be called innovation and creativity. Why the shift, do you think? Why do you think it's being labelled as disruption now?
I mean, it's a new cool word. I think, well, the difference, I'm asked this quite a lot. I think the difference would be, if you look at Uber, that's a disruption. So in the old days, you come out of a pub, and then you try to get through, well, you use other phones and try to get through. And you're trying to get a taxi home, right? And you're ringing up a guy who's got a fleet of taxis. And he says, yeah, I'll kind of get to one at some point, but that didn't work. So you have to go through someone who has taxis. Uber said, no, we'll just turn normal people into taxi drivers. And then it also means that taxi drivers then work hard to give them a good experience,
right,
and get you from A to B.
Yeah.
And so that was a disruption, if you like, as is Airbnb and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, disruption is, you take what's an existing thing, you make something new, a new way of doing it. And so that was more than an innovation, I think. It changes the course of it.
Yeah.
But often with disruption, there's a lot of great disruptions out there, but it's execution of it.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing. So Airbnb probably wasn't the first, but it's best executed.
Yeah.
Same with Uber and stuff. So So there's loads of disruption models I've kind of created, but there's very few out there because I've not had time or interest or whatever, or found the right person to execute it. I just enjoy. I'm a geek. I get obsessed by like fish, right? And you see a fish in a bucket, and it took ages to get that first. How's that session? And finally, this fisherman sent me a photo of a fish in a bucket, and I'm like, oh, it's a monkfish. And then we sold it. I'm like, this works,
Right.
and that's where I get my kicks from.
Yeah.
It's so sad, isn't it?
It's not at all. It's the quick start. Have you ever heard of the Colby test?
No.
I'll send it to you after.
Right.
It's like, it measures you on 4 levels.
Right.
And one of them is like quick start, which is like a bit propensity and ability to take fast action and see ideas and see vision. So it's each category is out of 10.
Right.
I'm a 2, 2, 9, 2.
Okay.
I'm a 9 quick start and 2 everything else.
Right. Okay.
And I would bet money that you would be like a 10 quick start.
Well, that's my thing. That is my thing. So that's I'm rubbish at so many things, but the thing I'm good at is getting things going, and doing things fast. And so
because it's the implementation that I struggle with as well.
Right.
Which is why I've got people around me.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
that's the life hack.
It's the best, it's clear that there's one person in this room that actually does the real work and it makes it all happen.
Mr.
Yeah,
Daniel,
exactly. Yeah. That's really clear.
Yeah.
But I think look,
we call him the boss for obvious reasons.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But look, I work best with ops people. So I'm the guy who causes the tornado, and then the people then make it happen. But I developed my own 100-day plan. Annoyingly, at the time I was doing this, Donald Trump coined the 100-day plan, and everyone just thought it was a load of rubbish. But yeah, so it's a simple thing for startups and company turnaround. So you essentially works over 3.5 months. So you have the first month, so you 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, and then 10. It's like one trick pony stuff, really. So the first 30 days, you figure out how to do it. And then you take all 30 days to the next 30 days, you create the assets.
Very cool.
Next 30 days, you launch it.
Yeah.
And then you take 10 days at the end to figure out how to improve it for next time.
Very cool.
And so generally the 100-day turnarounds I do is it's normally around the media, brand, marketing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we get in and, me normally. So I just get the brand tidied, get things. And you create momentum and excitement. And I think it's the energy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of energy. But I think it's the idea that you can do quick start if everyone comes with you.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just a guy charging ahead on the horse, waving your flag, turn around, no one's there. So,
what was that thing that we had in the quarterly meeting? What was it? Something about vision without action is hallucination.
These quarterly meetings you have sound really fascinating. Were you actually were you high at the time or something?
LSD, there was a big bag of mushrooms
Someone
involved.
goes, wait a minute, I've got an idea. Or was it quiet pause? Everyone looked at you, you went, I've got it. What was it?
Vision without action is hallucination.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
But unless you actually quick start them in the
As
reality.
they say, you miss every goal you don't shoot, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So, the entrepreneur side of it, I guess, is that it's shoot, aim, I think someone said. So that's me.
Right.
I shoot, I grow, make, and you build it and they come, right? As we used to say in the old days. So it's better to give it a go and get it out there. I think I was telling you before we sat down, we did this sort of 90-minute challenge concept with youngsters. So we had one up in Derry, we've done others elsewhere. What's really cool about it is that the idea is, you launch a business from scratch, zero idea, crowdsourced in 90 minutes. So in the first one, we had 100 students, 10 to a table, and I just literally stood there with a mic. And I knew I wanted to do this, but it's the most terrifying thing I've ever done. And I said, we're going to launch a business. And then said,
most terrifying thing?
One of them, yeah.
How?
Well, you're standing there with a mic.
Yeah, but
we're going to launch a business. It hasn't been invented.
You're the PR guy, and you're standing at a bunch of kids. It's like, why is that?
Right, picture this yourself, right?
Okay, yeah.
Right, so you're standing there with a mic.
Yep.
And in 90 minutes' time, You're going to launch a business that no one's even thought of at that moment, right? And you have to also get 100 people to work together to do that.
I'm missing context. Where's the stakes here if it fails?
Where's the...
What are the stakes? Why are the stakes so high in your mind?
Well, actually, I don't... Yeah, I don't ever think I'm going to fail.
That's kind of what I'm like, why?
In fact, so I see what you're saying. Yeah, the adrenaline buzz is amazing.
Yes.
That's probably the better way to do it. The adrenaline buzz was like, I don't often get the adrenaline buzz because I'm like, this is nuts.
Yes. And the closer you get to the edge, the bigger the high.
Yeah.
And so you were on the edge and you were like, whoa!
Yeah. Actually, that's the thing. I'm a adrenaline junkie. You know, I used to skydive, bungee, and done all that kind of stuff. And I guess this is my thing. But on that one, it was just classic because we're like, these kids, it was first thing in the morning, they're all just knackered. We're like, right. And I'm like running around, right, okay, in 5 minutes time, you've got to come up with if you've got an idea, come up with one, right? It's being filmed as well. So there's nowhere to hide.
Oh, well, there's better context.
So, and then so they came up with an idea. They thought it was a good idea. And then said, so we went around, collected them, put them all the ideas up on the wall. And literally 5 minutes later, people chose the one they wanted. And I shook this kid's hand and said, it was Northwestern music videos. I shook his hand and went, congratulations, you're MD. And he's looking at me going like, the hell are you talking about? But I really don't know, but we're going to do this. Let's do this. And then we're like, right, you're the art team, you're the design team. We need we need the first logo in 5 minutes.
Right.
And they're like, wow. And then I'll turn up in 5 minutes, they give us a logo. And that was the one they used. Right. And then we built, so 80 minutes later we had website, business cards, email up, Twitter, Facebook. They even did a rap and stuff like that. The point is
the fact that you had time to squeeze a rap in there is hilarious.
Yeah, well, no, this guy goes, should I do a rap?
They're like, we've got 3 minutes left. Let's do a rap.
That's brilliant. This guy goes, should I do a rap? I'm like, can you rap? He goes, yeah, we'll just do it. And he went, cool. And it was like, if you're making music in the Northwest, and it was really cool. And they did this mic drop. I'm like, this is so cool. But the point is, they just did it. They got on and did it, which is the shoot aim thing. Right, which is it's been my philosophy. It doesn't work for a load of people, but yeah, you go for it. You give it a go, and then you tied it up.
Yeah,
and what's great was kids. They realised that like startups, just do it.
Yeah,
don't play at it. Just do it.
Yeah,
right. You got nothing to lose, especially when you're young. That's the thing.
Especially when you're young, Daniel.
Especially when you're young. That's the thing, though, is because whenever you're young, especially, like, you're just too afraid to fail. In that kind of case, you're really afraid of what people will think about you, about the possibility of failure. But the things that are most enjoyable, like, for example, if someone's going out to do a show, like they're doing an act and all that for the whole school, the most frightening bit is before that, the build up to it. Yeah. But once you're actually out there, a lot of the nerves start to settle because you're in your environment. You've got the adrenaline going. You're just going at it because the quick start is what you need. In a sorts.
Yeah, and I think as an observation, we moved here, sort of 2013, so 11 years ago, and I was often asked because I came from as when we set up our business Gappy.com, right? This is pre-Google. We set up a early social network, right? So we were an early social network. We didn't know what we were doing, and we slept on office floor. We had no money, and then we raised £1.5 million. We were at one stage we were the largest student site, because we were the only student site, right? Right. And so the point is we got on and did, right? And we made it happen. And I've been involved with stuff, mainly in the UK and other things around the world.
Yeah.
And then I came here, and there's it's like pick up on what you're saying there. There's this whole thing about I'm worried about failing.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen to be failing. And then you can understand there's a lot of parents who've sort of grown up, particularly through the Troubles and things, where it's like, you keep your head down, you don't do the stuff. And you don't get that elsewhere. And so the struggle I had originally, I think when I got here, I used to I had a little entrepreneurs group. I mentored youngsters as getting them to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to. You go, well, no, you have to embrace failure. You have to fail.
Yeah.
So my thing is I set out to fail, right? And then I learn, right? The kind of business I've got at the moment, I've spent 9 months failing, right? I couldn't work out how to do this thing. It was cool. And then every time I learn, and then suddenly, bang, I got it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're trying to say to particularly youngsters here in Northern Ireland. It's just like, you give it a go.
Yeah.
Embrace failure. It's a weird thing to do. And everyone's going to say, oh, I hate here. It's a great expression. Oh, good luck with that. I absolutely, so many people. It's like I don't know if it's a Northern Irish thing.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need luck? And it's just horrible. It's like literally saying, oh, good luck with that. I don't think you're going to succeed.
100%.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. And also, I don't want you to succeed.
Yeah, and you have parents saying, you have like teachers saying, it's just, I hear it all the time. I'm like, just stop saying that.
We talk about this a lot, like, and we've done a lot of thinking about this.
Yeah.
And like our bro philosophy theory is exactly what you said. Like, because you had like multiple generations going through the troubles, you were penalized in a very, very severe way if you stood out.
Yeah. Right.
If people knew who you were, if people knew where you lived, it was a real threat. So to be invisible was actually a superpower. And while that was helpful for a period, now it's very unhelpful.
Yeah.
Particularly as the entrepreneur revolution is taking hold.
Because you need to be visible.
You need to be visible.
It's as simple as that. You need to be able to stand up and say, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. The whole thing here is what I love about this place is the tag we have and this NI thing is world-class talent punching above a weight. Right? It literally is. There is world-class talent. You've interviewed most of them. But that's true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you must keep thinking, wow, these guys keep on coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it. I think you said earlier you met someone and they're from Ballantoy or they're from some tiny little place. And you think, yeah, but they've changed the world, right?
Well, the big unlock for me was I was a huge Star Wars fan. Now I was brought up in the prequel era, so that ruffles a few feathers. Like Phantom Menace was my first Star Wars.
Right, okay.
And Qui-Gon Jinn, green lightsaber, Obi-Wan Kenobi's master. Loved him, thought he was an absolute hero. And then, literally, this is the origin story of Best of Belfast. If I really go deep into my Freudian psyche, I'm like 7 years old. I'm driving down the road and I'm geeking out about Qui-Gon Jinn. And my mum turns around to me in the car and goes, do you know he's from Ballymena?
Right, okay.
And it was Liam Neeson.
Right.
And my brain goes,
wow. Yeah.
There's a Jedi Knight from Ballymena?
Yeah.
And it unlocked everything for me.
Because, there's... So when I first moved here, it was basically set up a project. So the idea was brand NI. So I was uncomfortable with the fact that the Northern Irish radar, everyone fired at me. Like, where you from, who are you, sort of background and all this. My kid's heritage, you ready for this? Is because I'm a Griffiths, right? So we've got Welsh, English, Irish, Northern Irish and Scottish.
Nice.
Right? I'm
the Avengers.
I'm non-religious, right? So do I tick every box? Do I tick no box, right? And so... I started learning a bit of Gaelic when I got here because part of the philosophy of Gappy.com was when you go to countries, you learn the basics of stuff. And then people found that odd. And like, well, it makes sense. They're Gaelic speakers. Really difficult. And, I went to Collège de Ferch, the Irish, I've pronounced that incorrectly, Irish-speaking school, and talked to kids there, right? Try my hardest and then sort of they're wrong. And so, so the idea is you sort of learn stuff. And I've lost track where I was going there. So we're talking about... sort of the brand and basically punching above a weight and all that kind of stuff. And I think
people couldn't categorize you.
Yeah.
The radar was just, they couldn't get a read on you.
Yeah.
I was like, who the hell's this guy?
As you get old, everything's I'm losing my mind. And there was a incredibly talented girl who would have been probably about 19 or 20. And this is the future. This is what I saw at my kids. This is who we need to stay, right? This is where we need to build the future of this place. And these are the kids we lose. And she said, really profound thing. She's 19, right? She said she went to America when she was 15. And it's similar to your moment. She said she realized in America they achieved in life because they went from America.
Yeah.
So Americans did well because they're from America.
Yeah.
But in Northern Ireland, you achieved despite of being from here.
Right.
So she wanted it to achieve because of being from here,
yes.
Right? And I thought, I like you. This is what I want from my kids.
Because what we say is, oh, that's pretty good for here.
Right, okay, yeah.
They've done really well.
Yeah.
Even though they're from here.
That's very true. And the people, so when I got here, I was speaking to people my own age, and they talked about achieving life despite of being from here. And what they talked about was they would go to a conference, right? And it's like, blah, blah, blah. People talking, where you from? Your cup of tea. Like, I'm from Northern Ireland. And people say, oh, have you got a bomb in your bag? Oh, tell us a joke. You're funny.
Yeah.
Is that all you got?
Yeah.
And then loads of others were saying, there was a guy who had an acting job, and it was like, as soon as he opened his mouth, no, you're on the other parts.
Bro, even like, so like, I was like child of the Good Friday Agreement, basically. I was born in 95. I left Northern Ireland, moved to New York when I was 18 on my gap year.
Right. Good man.
And the amount of stuff I would get on the subway. Where are you from? Are there still bombs going off?
Right. Yeah,
Your English is so good. Like all this madness.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, are there iPhones in Ireland? Do you have YouTube in Ireland? And you're like, what?
Yeah,
and that also lit a fire under my belly where I was like, and I hated Northern Ireland this time.
Interesting.
I couldn't wait to leave. But having them talk crap about it made me be like, how dare you?
And that's the passion, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I think what came out was the sense that brand NI thing was, so NI was short for North of Ireland, Northern Ireland. The colour was if you take the green, the blue makes it get the teal. I mean, it literally was all that. But what was interesting is if you see NZ and you see the fern, you think All Blacks, you think powerful.
Yeah.
And I got the idea was there's a business out there, I think he's a builder called NZNI. And you thought, I bet he's a good builder. And it had the fern. Had the fern. I thought, and then it was like
Quality.
Yeah, but you just think, I bet he's a big fella.
Yeah.
I bet he's just like, but then he thought, and we had these youngsters and saying, well, what do you want? Because they were saying everything you just said.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I don't want to leave this place. I love this place and whatever. And they wanted the brand for this place to be Rory McIlroy, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So the idea is link it to the Giants Causeway, which is a national thing, and then you link it to McIlroy, to Liam Neeson, to all these impressive things, and hence the punching above our weight. Because I can't remember all these things, but it was a few years ago. But if you take the stats for how big this place is in terms of economically size and whatever, there's an order of all the countries. So they're down here, right? Because it's tiny. But if you then sort of roughly work out, like the fact is the world's greatest football player allegedly has ever come from here, McIlroy, the Game of Thrones, everything, all that stuff, it's up here.
Yeah.
And there's not many places like that. So that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
So you tag everything to that. And that's the bit. People go, I want to come. I want to be attached. I want to invest in businesses like that.
Yeah.
But it's the belief. That's the place I'm from.
Yeah.
And then you get the kids going, that's me. Yeah, that is me. I am Rory McIlroy. I am Game of Thrones. I am all of this stuff. The world goes, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if we attach the kids to that, then we've got a fighting chance. I certainly want my kids. My son's traveling the world at the moment. He's 19, backpacking around the world.
Nice.
Right? And, we haven't really talked about this, but he said occasionally people say, oh, you're Northern, oh, you're Irish, and they'll tag the Irish thing. But then he'll meet either Northern Irish people, or he'll meet others, and then he'll say, yeah, no, I'm from Northern Ireland, and people then are interested. And there's a whole generation we forget who don't know about the Troubles, who don't know about this. Loads of people just don't know. Loads of people don't care.
Yeah.
So it's a new narrative, right?
It is.
So we don't have to be, the kids say they're painting the walls, change the record, right?
Yeah.
We can change the record. We can be wherever the hell we want to be, right?
Sure.
But we've got to let the kids throw them the keys to the van and go, come on. And then tag stuff to what they want to be and the narrative, the story they want to tell. And if we attach our businesses, and the other exciting thing about it at the time was the really obvious thing is this NI, right? So when you see NZ, as soon as you start searching for it, you get like sports, sports shop NZ, something NZ. Then you go, wow, we have all these domain names we can buy if you just put NI on it.
Yeah.
Computer shop, NI.
Yeah.
Literally any domain name, stick NI on it, you could buy it. What an amazing thing for startups, right?
Yeah.
So we've got this amazing opportunity. But then the NI needs to mean something.
Yeah.
So if you see NZ and you see something NZ, you think, oh, that's cool. You think All Blacks, you think world champions, right? Let's do the same here.
It's the brand.
So brand NI, hence the, NI. And there's a little story in that where a bunch of us went to Buckingham Palace as part of one of the startup things. And there was a guy, I forget his name, he's late 50s, I think. The very first person who said to him in a positive way, oh, you're from Northern Ireland, was the Queen.
Ha!
And he said, normally he opens his mouth. This is his words. He said, normally he opens his mouth. And he said, my accent splits someone's hair or something. He said, oh, great, my accent. And then people automatically, as soon as I open my mouth, people judge me. Right? He said, the very first time the symbol was seen and it was positive, was the Queen. It's like, wow, that's a cool thing. And then it was all about, what's amazing about this place.
What did she see that other people didn't see?
Well, it was just the logo.
No, but I mean, why the positive reaction? Because, you know, if you're being very,
That's a good question.
if you're being very stereotypical, you know, the British monarchy might not.
Do you know
have-
what? I don't think it was anything deep. I don't think it was anything deep like that. It was literally the first time. This is his words. He just said it was literally the first time.
Just a pleasant surprise.
Anyone, because normally I think he's been around the block a bit. Every time he goes, it's the same. He's seen it for years and years and years, right? And it was it's just pleasant. He goes, I quite like this, because people coming up to me and go, oh, you're from Northern Ireland. People weren't listening and judging, right? You know, and I think when it was good. It was, you know, and it was at the time it was a cool thing, but look, it translates to the kids, right? We do have a brain drain. We need the kids to inherit this place, and to take it forward in a way that is free from anything that's held it back in the past, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
And they've got to align it and tell the story they want to tell. And why not align it to the McElroys of this world? Why not? They're world champions. They're world beaters. They're world class. And, you know, looking out here, there's some world class businesses out here, right?
Yeah.
So let's celebrate that.
And I think, like, I'm trying to dissect the undercurrent of what you're saying. And for me, it's actually instilling in people a sense of pride about this place and a sense of ownership, where the future's up for grabs.
Yeah.
You actually can be a positive influence in this place.
Build
you
the
can
world you want to see.
You can be part of something that I think is already happening. And well, you just said build the world you want to see, be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
I also like the grass will always be greener on the other side unless we water what's around us.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a move. It feels to me like there's a bit of a groundswell in that direction.
Well, look, being honest and not saying it to you guys, but you're part of this. This is, I'm sitting in what is exactly that, right? You know, I'm aware that you don't probably have politicians and various people on this show for a good reason, right? So you get all the positive people. You're literally everything we've just talked about, you're doing, yeah? You're taking all the world-class people, you're projecting to the world. So it's literally exactly that. So this business, this show is exactly that, right? And I think, you know, what surprised me since I moved here is how politicians just, being honest, just get in the way.
Right.
I've never seen so much. Like, you know, you don't get this in other countries where it's just the politicians are literally there. And they my biggest thing is I've had so many projects involved in, and politicians just swerve it or avoid it. So right now, here's a live one. Right now, I've got an arts project. So I run Arts NI, which is a big group. Everything I do is not owned by anyone. It's all collaboration, right? We've set up an Arts NI showcase. We've got about 150 odd artists now come out of the woodwork. We're actually setting up showcases, galleries. We're basically going to get art underway. And we're going to do, we said we'll set up a Young Artist of the Year award. There's going to be no sponsorship. There's going to be no nothing like that, right? And I can't tell you how, not just little interest, but how much the powers that be, because I thought I should go through the motions, have just said, yeah, good luck with that. You think this is insane. And basically, a bunch of us as volunteers, we're one of the largest arts movements in this place. We're getting people coming out. We're talking about people selling art, getting jobs. We're talking about youngsters coming through, finding the best talent, getting them into jobs, right? And so I basically go through the motions. So I go through to the various departments and various things. Go, just so you know, I'm doing this. And then I get my little Dear John letter back, and I go, yep, bingo, got it, bingo, bingo.
Yeah.
And then, so I've done the bit, we said this thing, and you just think, why aren't they embracing it?
But you respectfully should also know better by now.
When I go through it because I should do.
Because you want, you're waiting for the day where it's like, it happens.
I guess so. Generally, in my experience, there have been some good politicians in certain areas, right? So we had this massive project. It was mad. It was called Love To. It was an arts project, absolutely huge. It was run out of with brilliant guy Kevin Murphy. He was part of Voluntary Arts Ireland, tiny little thing up in Derry, and we end up getting multi-million. It's like about 30 million plus social impressions, right, in a year. £5,000 budget. It was absolutely huge.
Class.
And you might have seen some of the stuff. We had Finn McCall's underpants. It's promote voluntary arts, right? So we got 100 pensioners to gorilla knit Finn McCall's underpants, and we put them up in Giants. You see it all online. Type in Finn McCall's underpants. We did flash mobs and Roy McIlroy pumpkin. So that had over 1 million people saw that worldwide in about 72 hours and things. And it was phenomenally successful.
Right.
Right. Out of this tiny little team of passionate people up in Derry, right? And you'd think that everyone became a part of the BBC. So a major part of the BBC. And you'd think that it had been embraced. People said, let's do more of that. But the expression I was given at the time, someone said to me, there's a thing about crabs in a bucket.
Yeah, man.
Crabs, do you know that expression?
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah.
Crab tries to get out of the bucket.
100%.
And that was my first one.
And it stops the crab from trying to get out. Doesn't want the crab to escape.
Yeah.
It literally will pull it.
We did
its
30
friend
million
out.
social impressions. It was the biggest arts thing, probably in Europe of that year, right?
Yeah.
Massive. And it was everything. It was love to dance, love to sing, love to whatever, right? And it was an absolute banging thing. It was and the BBC loved it.
Right.
And the best part of the whole thing, there was a woman at the BBC. We had this meeting with her. She was like, oh, marvellous. Hey, let's do the thing with the underpants. It was so cool. That was the highlight of the whole thing, yeah.
The received pronunciation is so funny.
But yeah, and I think that's a good example of when good things happen here. It'd be brilliant if we got a seat, a bit of a term where people support him. And do you know what?
Yeah.
Let's go with this. Let's get on the train.
Yeah.
And I think that's the bit that's lacking.
But I think like to give a little bit of context and encouragement to you as well. This is a brutal metaphor. I'm going to say it anyway.
Right, okay.
Oh, this is so brutal.
Go for it.
It's so horrible even saying this on air, especially to you. Have you ever watched Saving Private Ryan?
Right, okay.
You know the beach scene?
Well,
the opening scene
Okay,
where
yeah,
they get
yeah.
off and they just get machine gunned down.
Okay, right.
And like so...
This is brutal. Here we go.
This is brutal.
Yeah, go for it.
And so many people just got like gunned down so that one person could make like, a 5 meter gain. I kind of feel like you're that. Like you're the one that had to go first. You're the one that's going to get all the no's.
Not really.
You're the one that's going to...
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I think you have paved the way for Daniel. And now Daniel's going to cover more ground with less effort. And then after Daniel is going to be...
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think, I'm one of those nice people, so, don't overplay the part of what I did. But I think the point I think I'm making is that, for example, listening to this, there'll be people out there who are listening to this, and I hear this. I like to think I'm self-aware enough that I can, listen to what people say, and people say, oh, well, it sounds like Northern Irish bashing. Because they're listening, they didn't hear all the stuff about, all the good stuff, and the groups and things. So I still run these groups. I still do this stuff in my spare time. I'm still doing all this. They listen to the bit about, oh, you were saying this about X and I think across the board, you see so many amazing things out there. And this is my observation, personal observation. And you see people talk about amazing things. So they might say there's 10 amazing things happening. And then they mention one thing, which is maybe negative. And everyone here seems to pick up on that, which is the crabs in the bucket thing. And I've always found that a bit odd. I'm like,
I agree too. Because one thing, like, it's a case for a lot of people, the fact that a lot of people have a very negative mindset instead of a positive. So, for example, someone can get 1,000 different comments a day, but the whole day could be ruined by one person saying like, oh, I didn't really like this as much. It's a real issue, I'd say, in a sorts, because the fact that, for example, I'll use this as a good example here. YouTube, you post a YouTube video, and you'll get a bunch of comments saying, oh, good job with this, good job with that, really good job with this, oh, I really love the video, I really love this part. But then you'll get this one bit like, man, I didn't really like this bit, it was a little bit cringy, or it just wasn't my kind of thing. And it'll stick in your mind all day. Yeah. And I think it's because people just really have that negative mindset. And a problem with that is the fact that some people who have that negative mindset don't want to seek to improve upon that. They don't know how to take constructive criticism a little bit, or even being able to identify the difference between criticism and constructive criticism, which I feel like if you're able to conquer that in the end, you can probably learn from the criticism that you get and improve upon that even more and more and more. It's about that kind of positive, negative. I don't know how to.
You're right, because I think so. You'd be a good example, right? So you're talking about it's the people around you. Because if the people around you say to you, "Oh, did you see what they said about you?" At one thing, you're going to be in that area, right? Which is back to the people who are influencing you. But what I love, there is a great groundswell I see of people like yourself, right, of your age and things, who, if you were in front of a person that you would say, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Look at the other stuff. And I think, but then, there needs to be more of those structures here for the youth. But some of the best stuff that I've seen is amazing. And then you find they've shut down. Why have they shut down? Because the funding's gone. So, and everything's around sort of funding. So something amazing happens, funding disappears, it all disappears. But it's not just the project, it's the people. So you have the incredible people who, just like you said there, really great. You think, this is awesome. Let's get these people in front of the youth. And then they're not there anymore.
Because of how much they've been judged in the past for stuff that they
it's more
enjoyed.
the thing shuts down, and you get the people, all the energy, just go, I'm not bothered about this.
Right.
And then you get, I think it's well known, there's a lot of people who are great at fundraising and going through things, and who have a more literal approach to things. When I first got here, I couldn't believe how many sort of Dragon's Den type things there were run by civil servants. I was wow. This is interesting.
Yeah.
I went to an award, an entrepreneur's award, because when I turned up, I'm like, I'm fresh meat. So I didn't know what's going on. I wanted to meet people, so I'm sort of attending everything. And I went to this one thing. It was just, there was all these civil servants. And it was an entrepreneur thing.
Right.
I'm like, and I felt really uncomfortable.
Yeah. And
then I was listening to the advice they were giving. I was like, it's not what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then it was, there's a lot of funded projects which sort of do that.
Yeah.
But then every now and then you find these amazing people. And I would love to see some of these amazing people be given the better funds.
But I think this is kind of what I was trying to get at earlier, whenever I said, I think we need to do it without them. Because I think relying on them makes us fragile. And I think moving into more of an anti-fragile mode where you get the passionate people and you figure out a way using the entrepreneurial capabilities to not rely on public money.
Yeah.
Because then once the public money disappears, then it all disappears.
Yeah. So all my stuff is created with no funding.
Yeah.
So in fact, one of the first things we did in Derry actually had, we did an arts project up there. Sorry, an arts event over 2 days. Over 1,500 people turned up. Not one bit of funding.
Yeah.
And we put art in fish and chip shops, cafes, things. And it just worked.
Yep.
Right. And we've had other things. There was a bunch of stuff. Amazing entrepreneur called Jenna Stevenson, who's been done artisan food stuff with her and doing down the Mourns, and set up actually a place called Made in Mourne, which was...
I interviewed her
Did you?
5 years ago.
It's cool, right?
She's awesome. Yeah.
So absolutely brilliant. So
do you know what was so
future,
funny?
right?
Yeah, I remember just straight away from that interview, the biggest challenge she was facing at the time was, I don't know how to get high-speed internet in Kilkeel.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Absolutely.
how amazing is that?
Of course, the thing with Jenna, she basically fundraising, we got it set up in 100 days, right? Usual stuff.
Classic.
And classic.
Classic
right?
Tom.
But the best thing about it, she was really pregnant at the time. And she sat there with a lot of the sort of the alpha males of Kilkeel, being honest, a fishing town, right?
Oh yeah, bro. Some
she's like-
serious players there.
Pretty much going, this is the future.
Yeah.
This is the future. And she's just like, join us. Don't talk about it. Do it.
Wow.
And it was awesome. And there's been so many people like that. And you just want them to be supported more. Anybody who's doing a good job, let's not have crabs in a bucket, right?
Yeah.
Let's give them support. And let's get the voices, like your voices and everything out. And
Yeah. But this is a conversation for off mic, but I think there's a piece that I've been thinking about for a long time, a funding piece, where it's you get all of the people who are pushing this place forward, and you get the people who have done well through business and other means, and you deploy resources to people like Jenna. But
absolutely. But this is where you get your list of all the people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and connect them in. And the other thing is, it's just speed as well.
Yeah.
You know, you reference stuff that my model is speed.
Just do.
I just do it, and like right now, the current business we're creating we're launching this current business in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. Right. So we're about to collect. So we've got 5,000 or 6,000 fitters now.
So I actually really want to talk about this. I want to do it justice. I want to lead in properly
but just on that, but the point I'm making is that there's always fitters, and we're just getting them.
Yeah,
we're doing it right, and no one knows who we are, and we're doing a complete disruption of this thing, and we're just doing it
right. And
everyone's like, so I turned up at a conference 2 weekends ago, and I had my mobile phone, and I pulled out my phone, and I showed New York, and there's all these fitters. We'll talk about in a minute what this is, optician stuff. And everyone went, wow. And we go, yeah, we're underway now. Now, if I'd have turned up and said, right, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find 5,000 fitters. People go, oh, good luck with that, right? But you don't. You go out, you do the graft, right? And then you do the thing, and then you get your fitters and you do whatever it is, and you go. And I think that's more the speed. Mm-hmm. And you referenced it earlier. If we gave the keys to young entrepreneurs in this place, the speed would go up.
Yeah.
And also the fearlessness.
Yeah.
We often say, particularly say to my kids, they're bored with it, and the young entrepreneurs and youngsters in general, it's about having courage, right? Courage doesn't mean you have no fear. It means you don't let fear hold you back or stop you.
Boom.
Right? So I have in my life, some of the best things happen in my life. I do 10 seconds of courage. It's how I met my wife and all these other things. So I did 10 seconds of courage. If I start counting down from 10, when I get to 0, I do whatever I do, no matter whatever it is. So bungee jumps, things, everything.
Yeah.
I will not start counting. And if I do it, I do it. Right. So I do, that's a thing I do for myself. 10 seconds of courage. And yeah, it's worked well for me.
Yeah.
And it's the courage, and the kids have the courage. Well, if the kids have the courage, but people like you guys and others saying, yeah, you can do this.
Yeah.
Give it a go. It doesn't matter.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they'll go for it. Right. And if they have no fear, you can have fear. I'm going to hold you back though.
Yeah.
So what if people say no? Who cares?
You finish the segment off, and then I'll get into night lenses.
So then how can you go fully supporting someone and encouraging them to have a lot more courage and all that? Like, is it just from complimenting them, or like really supporting them through that?
Do you remember Mark Braun from the Lean Summit we were at in Limavady?
Yeah.
We had his talk. Amazing guy, runs a business called Encouraging Leaders, works with like big CEOs, executive type people in the States. Did you hear his keynote on encouragement?
I have forgotten it.
Right. So what the word courage means, or what the word encouragement means, is to breathe courage into somebody.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Love that.
Well, that, in terms of your question and referencing that, so I spare time, I mentor people, right? And it's just a thing I do. And generally, a lot of it is, people come my way, and I don't mind this at all, but it's like someone says, oh, you speak to Tom. Right? And I don't mind. It's my kind of my thing. And generally, someone's on the cusp of wanting to do something, right? And it's not just setting up a business, it's something of their life or whatever. And generally for me is I focus on the first simple thing they can do. And it's not rocket science. You get them to do the one thing. And it's amazing. Just the little thing. They do it the first time and they go, oh, I can do that. And it's that feeling of success, right? I think one of the biggest problems is people go, right, I've like, especially in this business environment, they go, right, I've watched Dragon's Den. Right. I'm gonna have this phenomenal business. And they're like, oh, and it's just too big. No,
right.
It's the first thing. And it's just the little steps, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the general thing.
This is the second weird metaphor I've used today. It's just a weird day.
Right.
I don't know what's in this cough syrup.
You keep that going, don't you? Is this hallucinogenic stuff you're talking about earlier, wasn't it? Yeah.
It's actually a quote from the Joker in Batman. You need to edit this bit out. I'm joking.
The funniest thing is you'll actually wake up in a minute and this isn't actually happening.
Possibly.
You'd be like, whoa, where am I?
But when you were talking about mentoring people and how people are just literally on the cusp of doing something, Joker, and I think it's The Dark Knight, has a quote, and he's just like, all it takes is a little push. I think the full quote is like, chaos is like gravity, all it takes is a little push. I think so many people are just on the edge, and they just need someone to come like a mentor and breathe like that little tiny bit of courage to actually tip them into the minimal viable action that will lead to everything else.
Yeah, one of the things I've seen recently.
It's the domino. You're a domino flicker.
In a way, yeah. I mean, myself and loads of people do what I do. And I think, but again, observation I've had is there's so many people struggling with mental health. We know that.
Yeah.
I was seeing youngsters and sort of the older members now. And one of the things that if they start getting into something which gives them a sense of purpose, achievement, something it's passionate about, it's amazing how many would start to, it would be beneficial for them. And I've seen that myself. There's a few people I work with who, and when they go to do something, you can have a side hustle. Side hustles are great. You don't have to make money, just do something fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I do stuff with fish, fish in a bucket. It's great. It's a challenge. It's interesting, right? Yeah. Or paint or whatever, right? But I think, there's so many people out there, older folk, particularly guys in their sort of 40s, 50s, early 60s kind of thing, who've lost their mojo. There's no mental health stuff for them at all. They're really, really struggling. And then when you get into it, you ask, what do you want to do with their life? And some people say, well, I earn loads of money, but I don't get anything out of it, right? You must meet people like that who talk about this, how they change their life. And you say, well, what is it you want to do? Well, do that. What makes you happy, right? We say to the youngsters, find your vibe, find your tribe. Right?
Nice. We like that a lot.
So your vibe is, we say, what's your vibe? Your vibe is how you want to be, right? So you can be, I'm going to kill everyone and make $1 billion.
Sure.
Right? And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Who you're going to be surrounded by.
Or you can be,
bunch of bloody sharks.
That's right. You can be whoever you want to be, and it's not a bad thing. But how do you want to be? If you want to be kind, you want to be whatever, find your vibe. And then your tribe, exactly as you said. Find people who make you feel good.
Yeah.
People who like you get on with.
Yeah.
Right? And so, we're saying that to the youngsters, and that should make you happy as you go through life. Where have we lost that with as we get older? Where's a vibe? Where's a tribe? We find ourselves in a load of people in what they call toxic relationships. They don't get out of them, not just with relatives, but with people around them who say, good luck with that,
Yeah. Crabs.
Yeah, absolutely. So find the people who say, that's great. It's that. I think that's what you're saying about the push or the enabling.
100%.
Yeah, get surrounded by people. And again, I think we just need more of this. This arts project we've got, we just said to people, show us your paintings and we'll showcase them. And they'll come out and they say, well, not showing people my paintings. And then people say, oh, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we like that. That's great. Why aren't other people telling you?
Right.
Because they say, oh, well, you're never going to sell your paint. That's not why you do it, right?
And also, why not?
Yeah, just...
Why would you not sell it?
Yeah, and that's right. And there's always a market. That's a separate story, yeah. So this is what we're kind of working. But, but the point is, there's so many people paint for mental health.
Yeah.
So many. Well, if we got more people into doing that, we're going to let people into GPs and things like that.
Yeah, but also, something I just don't hear people talk about is the negativity that most people from this part of the world feel about their home. They feel about NI. That has to have some sort of an impact on your mental health. If you're not proud of this place, if you think this place doesn't have opportunities, if you think nothing good comes from here,
Yeah, probably, maybe. I think it comes down to what we were saying earlier, wasn't it? Is that if you feel part of something good.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think, we just need to get more of these youngsters into that. And, also this thing about if you're a smart kid, you've got to be a doctor, lawyer. What is all that about? Just like
safety.
Find the thing you love. Find the thing you love, help them do it. And we got AIs coming up, which is going to decimate loads of stuff and whatever. But actually, find the kids, find the thing you love. Right? Courage, right? Be courage to do this. Like my son's, he's going to be a games designer.
Class.
Really smart kid, right? And
bunch of people in here doing that.
Well, the interesting thing is
a
whole bunch of people I've said, well, what's your son going to be doing? Games design. It's almost like, is he not going to do something proper for a living? You're like, and on that, by the way, he connected with Hank Rogers as well.
Class.
And, and and that's the thing, if you think about that from a startup games designer as I think Rogers, that type of world. I mean, what a world to be in!
What a world to be in. Did you have something done?
Yeah, it was something. It's a wee quote that you had that you've told me as well before about the people who surround you. I think it's about how you become a sum of the 5 most important people around you. Something that you've told me before, and
So
something like that is just really important.
Coveyism.
Aye, just something to always keep in mind. Like if you have like 5 positive mentors, friends who want to build upon themselves and to continue to improve, that you'll also become something like that in the end. However, if you're surrounded by a bunch of people who just sit around all day, not do much, then you end up not doing as much as you want, not being as productive as you want to be, and in some cases successful. So,
I still think in NI we've just, there's so much potential here. There really is, and I know we're going through stuff at the moment, and there's but the world's going through stuff, but genuinely, because I think it's important to end this sort of segment on that, is that because people still be thinking, oh, it's Northern Irish bashing, but genuinely coming to this place, and I've been all over the place, I'm astounded at how much talent there is. And I genuinely mean that. I'm not saying this to make you guys feel happy or whatever. There genuinely is incredible talent. And you think, wow, is it that I didn't notice that before? I think it's because it's condensed, yes. But also there's an incredible thing where you can be talented and you can, like particularly youngsters, you can be really talented in, say, film, and you can get to the film industry because it's just there, it's down the road. You can be an amazing at engineering, and there's engineering firms just down the road. In England, Wales, Scotland, you don't have that.
Oh, try doing that in New York. Forget about it.
Exactly. So
Forget about it.
So yeah, we grafted in London, right?
Yeah.
Grafting in London, you're this tiny pea in this thing. And you're trying to get known. But here it's amazing. And you go, oh yes, that guy, I'm into film, there's the head of screen, and I'm into this, there's this. You've got this facility, you've got things. Not just here, all over, this place. And it's all there.
Northern Ireland has been a place of innovation. It's developed lots of things, from defibrillators to the American Eagle. You heard that one before?
I haven't.
The guy who designed the American Eagle, I think it's John Dunlap, maybe? Dunlap.
My favourite story is how America, do you know this one? How America was formed because George Washington was angered by someone down in, he went to, where's the Queen's other house here, or the King's other house? Hillsborough.
Right.
Do you know this story?
No.
It's a true story. So basically, Washington was in Hillsborough, and pre that, and he was going to get the details wrong. You look it up, and he was someone, a personal front or whatever, and he said, right, I've had it with this, and he went back, and then it all, obviously that was the spark for. So yeah, so I love that story, but that's crazy. So it sparked America.
Mad.
Yeah, but look, in terms of the things that are invented here,
and the amount of US presidents that have Ulster Scots heritage is there's a whole thing there.
Yeah, no, we did a piece on that for the Brandon
really?
I thing, and it's astonishing. It was God, I wish I could remember all this stuff.
Sure.
But when you show the kids,
and
you go, these are all the American presidents that originate from this area. It's like most of them or something.
Yeah.
Right, and then you go through the history and you see the diaspora of people who've gone around the world and changed things is absolutely amazing.
It's cool. What is Night Lenses?
Night
Lenses?
So Night Lens, it's my latest business. And the story here was my son was told he had short sight. And so it's an optical device basically, but told he had short sight, and his eyesight got worse and worse. And then he stopped surfing, stopped playing sports, doing everything. And it was quite heartbreaking to watch. And then a friend of ours, an optician, said to us, you want to try these ortho Kera something lenses? And they changed his vision. So we gave him a try, and it was the most amazing thing. So basically what a night lens is, you put it in your eye overnight, and it changes your eyeball as you sleep. You wake up, you take the lens out, and you have perfect sight all day, no glasses, no day lenses, and you don't need laser surgery, and you repeat it every night. So, and it changed my son's life. Absolutely changed it. The first day, to give you an idea, he could see probably the top letter of the chart, unaided. The first day, he took these lenses out, he looks out the window, and he's just seeing everything. I can see that, I can see that.
4K.
Oh my God, it's amazing. Nothing in his eye. So I was like trying to tell people, so this lens is called an ortho keratology lens. And how does it work? I don't know. It's just, I was getting really frustrated. And we used to call them night lenses. So I sought out the guy who made the lens that he wore, a guy called Scott Brown, Scott Lens. I met him in Belfast. I'm like, I've got this idea. And we've got tea and coffee, and I'm putting all these teas and coffee cups, and we're going to change the world, and there's going to be a revolution. And he's like, you're nuts. This is dour Scotsman, brilliant, Scott. And he just said, yeah, join me, let's do this. And so we're rebranding the term. So no one understands orthokeratology or ortho-K. And if I asked you in an hour's time, you wouldn't remember that. And there would be no website. So we call them night lenses. So you have glasses, day lenses, night lenses. So the disruption I've done is by telling you that and telling you I own, you can go to nightlenses.com where you can find your nearest fitter. In a month, 2 months, a year's time, you'll remember that.
Yeah.
Which is what we did with Gap Year.
Yeah.
So we talked about gap years and then gapyear.com. And that's it. So night lenses, and how the thing works is your eyeball has 5 outer cell layers, and every night the outer cell sheds just like your outer skin every night. And then the new cell, so we make a lens that goes onto your eyeball and it's custom made for you, and it acts as a mold. The new cell molds into that. You take it off and you have a perfectly shaped eyeball.
Wow.
And it's been around for 20 years. And all the time I've been with the company now 3 years, not one person has ever heard of it.
Do you know what's interesting? I heard about it 15 years ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Again, like one of my
2 people have ever.
Yeah. but my mom or my dad or my granny
Right.
was like, have you heard about these new things?
Right. Okay.
And you put them in at night time, and guess what we all said?
Rubbish. Doesn't work. Yeah.
Rubbish.
That's right. So that's what I've done. So we realised there was a thing, and my son's life has changed.
I've been wearing contact lenses since I was 11. So
okay.
I'm
There you go.
interested in this.
Yeah. So it's for people short sight, under -5. And so that's what it is. So it is literally, it's a game changer. And they've been around, but there's more people, more opticians have a topographer and things now, which is what you need. And we just made it cool, made it relevant. And so I've just come in. I spent about 9 months figuring out how to do it. Then we launched it with Scott Lens. Scott Lens has gone through the roof. We've now, a partner with Scott Lens now, so we've now manufacturing capacity. And then we go, wow, this works. This is cool.
Yeah.
And then made all this imagery. Thought, well, maybe it's English speaking. Reckon so. So I spoke to people in America, Canada, and they're like, yeah, we have the same problem. So we've literally just launched in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa.
Class.
And the model there is about 80 million people with myopia, which is short sight, in those 6 countries. And literally no penetration for night lenses.
Yeah.
So 2 to 3% penetration is about $1 billion retail a year.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. So we're calling it Revolution. It's cool.
Yeah, $1 billion at 2 to 3% is pretty cool.
Yeah, and so I mean that's only 2-3%.
Yep.
And in the Netherlands, they follow what they call nachtlens, the night lens thing, and they have 6% penetration.
Wow.
So and we know from putting the geeky stats on it are a Facebook engagement rate, you'd be happy with 1%.
Yeah.
We've been getting sometimes 15-20%. And the reason being, we put a thing out that says that it's like laser eye surgery, but without laser eye surgery.
Yeah.
People are like, what?
Yeah.
They go on, they're thinking, this can't be real. They see very quickly the site's set up. Very simply, this says it is real.
But the virality.
And then you finally just fit them. We got loads all over Northern Ireland. And then the other thing we're doing is part of that, we found sports stars. So we've got world champion, she does Ironman, things like that. So she wouldn't have become a world champion without it because she used to have prescription goggles, prescription glasses. When it's night lenses, all changed.
Wow.
We've got footballers, rugby players. So rugby players, internationals who's like, well, I'm constantly looking up to catch a ball. And what we're calling it a lens fail. That's a good example. I spent months and months trying to distill this concept of what we're trying to do down into one word, which is lens fail. So we're going out to the world now in the sports for elite sports people.
Bro, the amount of times I used to wear, what do you call hard contact lenses?
Yeah, GP, hard ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's a name, the wee blue ones. Anyway, I was going to say carbon fiber, but it's definitely not that.
Yeah, well, GP is gas permeable.
Gas permeable.
Yeah,
exactly.
GP,
Thank you. And the amount of times that they've been flicked out of my eyes playing rugby, playing football.
There you go.
That's lens fail.
Yeah. So what we're doing,
you've branded a lived experience that I've had in a way that I can just recall to memory. From now on, I will always refer to that as lens fail.
Yeah. So and then we go a stage further where, it's been quite hard to find documented evidence of a lens fail.
Ooh.
So I found there was a guy, I forget his name now. He's very famous with the something 676 as a basketball team. He had a lens fail in the last second as a defender. Guy went up, scored, they won, but he lost.
Yeah.
So what's the value of a lens fail? You don't need it. So every time a rugby player goes down, I'm like, right, here we go. So Six Nations, the Italians obviously had a rough Six Nations, as they normally do. They were up in the 22 in the first few minutes, doing really well against France. One of their players was fiddling around. He then found himself offside. There was a kick, took him all the way down. He had a lens fail, right? So that took him from there. So we've had all sorts of lens fails. So we're going out to basically to football clubs, rugby clubs, to what will be to then the FAs and things, and saying, look, what's the value of a lens fail? You don't need it. And generally, people don't realise these things exist. We're not selling anything. We're like, we're not here to sell you. We're just here to tell you, and you can go to your nearest fitter.
Yeah.
So we're setting up a elite fitters program, sports. We've got police officers as well. So we've got 3 police officers who say it's safer to use night lenses and day lenses for if you're in a fight or struggle. So I think there's about 10,000 police officers in the UK who have something like that. So so that's the thing. It's keeping me busy at the moment. It's my new boring gap year story, basically.
I wouldn't say it's boring. The riches are in the niches, as the Americans say.
It's good fun. It's a good one. It's
distillation process, right? Of coming up with night lens, coming up with lens feel.
Yeah.
My first job was in being a copywriter. How do you do that? Is it like furious, frantic on the internet? Is it like Zen meditation, blank page in front of you? Is it I'm going to go for a 10-hour walk? What's your process?
I don't know, actually. It's what they say, 10,000 hours of doing it. So that's, in fact, you've sort of distilled down the thing that I can do.
That's a superpower.
Well, I don't know, superpower. I can't do so many things, but I can do that. So like #Love2 campaign and things. It's generally it's trial and error. You just keep working. I use PowerPoint actually. So I open up a PowerPoint doc.
So this is what I'm looking for. Tell me more.
Right, yeah. So I open up PowerPoint, slide 1, and then I go slide 2, and I come up with ideas, and then you work, move, change things, find things, do that.
Right.
Eventually you end up with 120 odd page PowerPoint.
Yeah.
But it's just a whole string of ideas.
Yeah.
And then you get to think, oh, that's cool. And then you put it up at the top and you go, cool. Then I do version 2. So it's a lot of that.
So that's the iterative process, basically?
Yeah, I guess so. It's I don't give up. That's the thing. And then you just keep going and sort of testing. And sometimes it just comes to you, right? And it's just, the lens fail actually came to me because I was writing up, I was trying to create a 1-page doc to go out to the chief medics and these Premier League team stuff. Well, that's the idea. And I'm trying to write out, and I'm trying to say it succinctly. And it was all rubbish and it wasn't working. I'm like, I can't. And I'm saying, this lens fail, blah, blah. I went, oh, yeah. And then I thought, so then if you put lens fail together, so then I do #lens fail. So old school hashtags. But then I still use the hashtags because people start doing aggregates content, and then I can then generate content.
Yeah.
So hence it's #night lenses revolution. So the idea is people around the world start saying, I've just picked up my new #night lenses.
Wow.
I can aggregate the content. I can then produce that content, put it back to the opticians, and grow it. So hence the lens fail would hopefully become a thing that we can use internally, if you like, to grow the case study. So
it's really interesting. So this is how the whole thing becomes full circle now. That just do mentality that you talked about from the second Daniel hit record is it's happening with this process too, because you have to do 120 slides before you get the one.
Yeah.
Like you can't just sit there and just like, it's that quote, no one has ever plowed a field by turning it over in their mind.
Okay, right.
Like it's in the process of doing is where the answer is revealed. It's like the classic entrepreneur thing where an entrepreneur is someone who jumps off a cliff and builds a parachute on the way down.
Okay, yeah.
And like Seth Godin, like I love Seth Godin, he says the only way you can ever write a good book is to write a terrible first draft.
Yeah.
You know? And so even
Absolutely.
in that process of coming up with a tagline, coming up with a hashtag, it's just do, and then just like pick what works and get rid of the rest.
Yeah. And change it. You know, people go, we're going to wait for our logo. And they so when I get designers doing stuff, I'm like, give me 10, 20 logos, right? But like that first 10, do 5 you think, and then 5 completely random ones, right? And then we're looking and go, wow, that's working. And also, I think it's this thing where I guess I don't care. Quite often I say to people when we're in a process, I say, look, I don't bruise. I'm here. I'm not here as part of a job, right? I'm here to get it right.
Right.
It has to work. Like the fish thing I told you earlier, right? Right. I wanted to get a fish on a bucket that hadn't been landed sold. And then I wanted to get it, someone to sell a dish made from a fish that hadn't been landed, right?
Yeah.
My only objective was to do that for whatever reason, right?
Sure.
I mean, it could be amazing because you could end up having, if you turn to digital content, you could actually have those up in fishmongers, right? And then you can say, here's the fish landing, and then the price of fish goes up. Anyway, but the point is to make it work.
Yeah.
So when I'm trying to get things and it's not working, like the lens fail thing, there's no point in putting it out if it's not working. So, and then you're sort of saying to people, when you put stuff off feedback, people will give you feedback and they think, I want to say what he thinks. He like, no, tell me it sucks, right?
Yeah.
Tell me the bits you don't like, right? And then you just sort of keep going really. And then this is why actually I have this is carpal tunnel from Control-C, Control-V because of those PowerPoints.
The cautionary tale of the PowerPoint.
Yeah, it is. So I copy ideas, I copy, paste. You do that and that's where you get carpal tunnel. So yeah, it's a dangerous sport, dangerous world.
Daniel, take us home.
All right. So, Tom, what would you, if you could go back in a time machine to an 18-year-old version of yourself?
Right, okay.
What would you say?
Well, I have done because my son.
Oh, great answer.
Yeah. So he my poor kids. My son's taken a gap year and he's traveling right now. Yeah, and it's my poor lads have to deal with all this. This is what you've heard today is me as a dad. So yeah, I just have courage. So we actually at one point, one of my sons had it written on a sheet above his bed because he just needed that at the time. Yeah, have courage. Just try things and not be afraid. Right? That's the thing. And if you don't do it, look, a genuine thing, right? I think this is great. Thanks for inviting me on. I genuinely love what you guys do, but this came from you deciding this is what you wanted to do, right? You told me the story of sitting wherever you were and doing your first one, right? If you hadn't said, well, I'm going to do it, you wouldn't be sitting here today, right?
You'll like this, 2 sentences. I was working for Deliveroo. I was making £7 an hour. I listened to 12 hours of podcasts a day while cycling around Belfast.
Right.
Fell in love with the city. Realised the media wasn't covering good stories. £30 microphone. Start.
Did it.
Done.
Yeah.
First episode, someone's living room.
So if you said, I've got this idea, and someone said to you, oh, good luck with that, right? You might, I don't know. But you're not that type of person, right? So I think, but that's the point is, you're living in Bob. We're in a space here.
Yeah.
At some point, someone went, that old Baths place, right? You know what we can do? Someone had a vision, did it, right?
Yeah.
People have to do this. So you're either in the river, you're either going down the river, and you're in the river. In fact, I think I said this to him. Poor lad. He's just, Dad, I just want to go travelling. And I'm like, wasn't son? You're in the river. In fact, you're in the river. You either follow life and you're in the river.
Simba,
Yeah.
remember who you are.
Stay in the river and don't do drugs, son. But yeah, you either follow the river and go wherever it takes you, and you end up earning money, a job you hate, just to buy stuff from home, or you get out of the river and have a look, and just try stuff. Just try stuff and not be frightened. I think that's the thing, and good things happen. Genuinely, this is great. I've really enjoyed this. the thing I mentioned earlier, I've never actually listened to a full podcast, right? And I've never been part of a podcast, and I love this. You know, obviously I know where they are and stuff, but I think, you know, this is a good example, if you don't mind me flipping back on you guys, of exactly what can happen. And this is in terms of, for not just for Belfast, but for NI, is, you know, what you were saying earlier, let's hand the kids the keys, right?
Yeah.
And so what would I say to my kids? Have courage, do it. I hoped everyone would say that. And we've just been through it with people we just follow the path, right? We just do the same thing, right? And we got a scary world coming up with AI. There's a lot of big stuff's going to happen. And so, you know, having the courage to be themselves and to know what they want, to be kind. Being kind is like the biggest thing. I'm so proud of my boys. They're so kind, all three of them, even the little one. I'm putting that in for him. He won't listen to this, but anyway, yeah. But yeah, that would be it.
Tom, thank you for your time.
No, but thank you. This has been great.
Yeah.
I love what you guys do. It's really cool. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Catch you next time.
Amazing stuff. Just want to give one final thanks to NI Connections for making today's episode possible. You can sign up for their free email newsletter at niconnections.com, where you'll get straight to your inbox interesting stories from people who are from this place but are living and working overseas. You'll also get some really interesting insider information about best practices of how to move back home or how to start a business here and all this other really, really interesting stuff. niconnections.com is the place to do that. And we're so, so grateful that we're able to keep this series going thanks to NI Connections support. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much for checking out the podcast. Cheers.